This semester, something I got to experience was homework help. Me, Cortland, and Jenna would spend every Tuesday night at the Winooski Library working with many individuals on their homework. Through this experience, we got to learn many new things and experience different developmental, social, identity issues that we have learned about in the classroom. We were able to see adolescents transition from different countries to schools in the United States, individuals who were in the criminal justice system become more of a member of the community, and just adults who needed a little bit of assistance with their homework. It allowed us to gain an experience that we hadn't necessarily had before, and really for the first time we were able to work hands-on with these students to help them any way possible. Homework help has been a really fun experience this semester because we have been able to get out of Burlington into Winooski, which has a very different population than Burlington. A lot of the students who have come to Winooski are refugees and immigrants, which has created an interesting dynamic, especially with them feeling comfortable to open up to us. I've had a few experiences with two specific girls who are sisters from Kenya who have come in and asked for homework help. One of them was working on a project where she had to write some words and definitions in English and then some words and definitions in another language, and she was deciding between the 5 languages she spoke to write about. So I asked, what languages do you speak? And she began rattling off a list of languages, and one of them was Swahili. So I said, Mambo, which means how are you, in Swahili. And she seemed shocked that I knew a word or two in Swahili. So she went to go grab her sister and said, you won't believe this white girl speaks Swahili. And it kind of became the running joke between us that I was the one white person they knew who spoke Swahili. So the next homework help, even more people who spoke Swahili came in, and they're like, there's the white girl who speaks Swahili. And I thought it was really interesting to be able to connect with them over even just a little bit of a shared language experience. This continued on when I helped a woman from Tanzania with her math homework. And it sort of became a weekly thing where she would come in with her many kids, and one of us would sit with her and help her with her homework, as you do at homework help. But I felt like I really connected with her because I had lived in Tanzania for 3 months. So I had an understanding of how the culture there worked and how people greet each other. I asked her how she was doing in Swahili, and she really began opening up to me about why she came to this country. So just having that cultural reciprocity and understanding my own existence and her own existence and how we're very separate people but still have this shared connection was really helpful during homework help. Additionally, having this space where many people did speak Swahili and were from East Africa allowed for them to connect over something. So I think it really helped with their ethnic identity formation. Finney's ethnic identity formation talks a lot about how the people you're surrounded by really have an effect on how you identify ethnically. So as someone who isn't living in their country of origin anymore, it may be difficult to feel connected to their ethnicity, but I believe homework help provided a really great space for people of the same ethnicity to come together and be able to talk in their home tongues and share this feeling of being affirmed in their own self.
Homework help is a really good opportunity just to get more experience working with kids. So I've been working with kids for a really long time, but any type of experience helps. So it was a chance to work with kids of different ages and different ethnicities and different financial backgrounds, everything that's different. And I come from a pretty upper middle class town, so working in Winooski with these kids who are refugees and have different backgrounds was a really eye-opening experience for me. One of the students I worked with, she was struggling to memorize the Gettysburg Address, and her biggest issue was self-efficacy. So English wasn't her first language, so she didn't believe that she could memorize something like that, especially with words that were a little more difficult for someone who doesn't speak English as their first language. So what she originally tried was different methods, like someone suggested that she listen to it while she read it, which didn't really work for her. So she also tried rote memorization, so she tried to memorize it just to get it memorized, and she didn't really understand the content. So what we did was we looked into the background and the history and all the information about the Gettysburg Address, which really helped her. In the end, what helped her the most was continuous reinforcement and different mnemonics and stuff. So every time she would get something right, I'd tell her how good she was doing, which gave her more confidence in herself and really helped to improve her self-efficacy overall and make her believe that she could memorize it. And one method that really worked for me was a method I learned in high school. So when I did marching band, we had to memorize our music. So what our band director would have us do was we would play a line looking at it, and then we'd turn around and try to play it. And we'd do that a couple times. And once we had it, we would play 2 lines looking and then turn it away and 2 lines memorized. So I tried to do that with her, and it really helped. So we'd read a line looking at it, and we'd do that until she was comfortable, and then she'd try not looking. And we just keep doing that and adding on. So by the end, she had started knowing like just a couple lines, and she ended up knowing like 3/4 of it by the end. So occasionally I had to prompt her, but she knew most of it on her own. And something that we practiced was positive practice. So immediately after she made a mistake, I corrected it so that she knew, so that she was less likely to make that mistake again. I think for her, it really helped her to actually understand and be interested in the information, which does help a lot when she's trying to memorize it. Because once she understood what the Gettysburg Address was and what it all meant, it really like helped her to understand the meaning of the words, which helped her memorize it a lot. Another thing that helped was the keyword method. So one of the last lines is of the people, by the people, and for the people. And so that continuous repetition of the same words really helped her a lot too. We also tried to think of like similar words that sounded like other words so that she could memorize them better.
So I think homework help for me was a little underwhelming. Maybe I came in with the wrong expectations, but it was definitely great to get one-on-one with a lot of youth, which is going to be what we're working on in the future. But I felt like it was going to be a really powerful experience, and then ended up just connecting with kids, and that's just sort of what I've been doing for years through summer camps and stuff. And looking back on it, I definitely may have had my expectations a little too high. But there were a couple moments that really stuck out. I guess now that I'm thinking about it. Well, one experience that stuck out to me, at least, was this young gentleman who came in. We'll call him Aaron. And he came in for kind of an unusual reason. Most people come in just to, get some help with their latest science project, or, check over their math homework or edit an essay or something. But our boy Aaron here came in because he was mandated. And we thought, he'd come in, he had a couple letters he had to write, sort of apologizing for some poor decisions he made and acknowledging and demonstrating an understanding of some damage he may have caused. But we thought he'd come in and he'd write his letters and he'd be gone. And that did happen. He came in, he wrote his letters. It took him a couple weeks to really get the print down and get the wording that he was looking for. But then after that, he kept coming, which was really great. He kept showing up to homework help every Tuesday night. And sometimes he didn't even have homework to do. Like, he definitely would ask for help if he had homework, but sometimes it was just to sit and play DOS, which is, of course, the classic sequel to Uno. And I think a lot of that had to do with maybe a sense of belonging that he had created in this environment. And belonging, of course, is one of the 4 components of Larry Brentro and Martin Brokenleg's Circle of Courage, which is this development model for the sort of the 4 required elements for proper development. And belonging is incredibly important as teachers because to create as teachers, because if your students don't feel comfortable and at home, and maybe not at home, but comfortable or safe in your classroom, then they're going to have a hard time pushing their own comfort zones and really trying new things, putting themselves out there, answering questions, etc. And so it felt really, that was very powerful for me, was seeing this young man come in and continue to come in because of this belonging that we had created. I think also what could have helped this young gentleman is maybe some new friends that he made during this homework help, because he may have met some people that he wouldn't normally have hung out with, some people who might be more academically focused or really recognizing that they need this help and reaching out for this help through this homework help program. I think homework help really increased his social development. It really improved his social development through meeting these new people. He, maybe it wasn't Bandora's perfect 4 steps to social development, but meeting these new people who might be more academically focused or driven, meeting these people definitely encouraged him to come back in and get this help that he may have needed, or just to hang out and with people that he likes spending time with.
One of my favorite days at Homework Help was the first week where I got to interact with a student who was really nervous about reading because she thought she read at a worse pace than a lot of the other students in her class. So I went off into a corner of the room with her and we sat for half an hour, 45 minutes, and just slowly took our time sounding out the words and trying to find a way to help her read the book. It really showed me how much goes into teaching and how much you have to think about the ways you convey knowledge to students, because something that works for one student might not always work for another. So it really gave me an experience that I'll remember.
So my favorite memory from Homework Help was a day that we all got together and played DOS. So DOS is like a second version of Uno, and it's a little different. So there's a group of about 10 of us, and it was just really nice because all of the kids that were there were only at Homework Help just to be there and to spend time with other people. So it was really nice to see Homework Help as a place that people could just come to get to know other people and spend time with them, and just a place they could come for fun if they didn't have homework. So we just spent time playing DOS and laughing and having fun, and that was a really fun experience for me.
Probably one of my favorite things about Homework Help was just like helping people with homework. I know that's what it's called, but like the first time someone came in and was like, "I need help with science," and I was like, "Science! Like that's what I do." And then I like helped them with science. That was really cool. It felt really good, and it wasn't just like, "Oh, here's some science." It was like talking about chambers in the heart and all this really cool anatomy, biology stuff, which is like exactly what I wanted to do. Or it's exactly what I want to do.
Something that I think could improve homework help would be having worksheets and different resources available to students who don't necessarily have homework but want to practice things they might not feel comfortable in. For example, if there were math worksheets and English worksheets, science worksheets, different things that tutors could sit down and work with students on, even if they don't have homework, that would allow them to gain more experience outside of the classroom.
I think something we can do to improve homework help is maybe split people up based on like different concentrations, so that we get like a good, like well-rounded group. I know that people have different availability, and it's good to have people, like say an English major helping people with math. I just think that if they had someone who's a math concentration helping them, it would be the most beneficial.
I'm not sure if I could improve homework help. I'm sure someone could, but I can't. I don't think of any other. I can't think of any way. It was great. Big fan.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Thanks everyone for a great semester.
Later, nerds.
Oh, is this what we're doing?